This demon comes to many at night. What is a black widow? And how to get rid of the incubus? The question I raise is a difficult one. And to some, probably, it is surprising. But it is more urgent than ever, in my opinion. And also because after many years of confessing young girls and boys, men, women, you learn that a prodigal devil comes to them at night. Some get used to it and live with it for years, rarely telling anyone. And I am not exaggerating at all. Every third, if not every second woman, in her life was attacked by a prodigal devil, an incubus at night. Men are very rare. I will tell one case. A 30-year-old woman came to me for a prayer service to Saint Martyrs Cyprian and Justina, which has been held every week since 1995. This is an ordinary water holy prayer in front of the icon with the relics of Saint Cyprian and Justina, which helps to get rid of witchcraft. I sprinkled her with holy water, and she began to shake, howl, push me, and in a rude voice to shout and curse. After the service, I took her to talk. I asked, "Lady, tell me your fate." And she started. "Father, I have lost my husband. He went to earn money in the north and did not return. They sent me his belongings, money, and a certificate from the burial place. I couldn't go there. I wanted to go at first, somewhere in 40 days, but the children are small. I was very upset, I couldn't find a place for myself. I was sitting next to the photo, crying, I didn't want to live. In the church, I made a memorial service in absentia. And one night the doorbell rang late. Children were sleeping. I opened the door. My husband was standing there. I grabbed my head. "Dear man, where have you been? I'm dying here without you. How could you leave us?" We sat down to eat, went to bed as husband and wife. I wake up in the morning and he is gone. I was in panic. What is it? Where is he? I called to the north, from where they wrote that he was buried. They answer me, "Your husband was buried." The next evening, the doorbell rang again. My man came. And again my tears. And again the family bed. And again I fall into a deep sleep, and in the morning he disappears. And so it continued for 6 months. And later I began to notice that this is not my husband. That he breathed like a dead man. In addition, when he came to me, I was attacked by a kind of fog. And in the morning I didn't remember much. I remember that he and I lived as husband and wife. And he was kind of insatiable. Because of this, I could not look at the icons, could not enter the temple. When I told my relatives about everything, they brought me to you. This woman came to us in the temple, and later became a sister of mercy. It must be said that after her first communion of the holy mysteries of Christ, the devil's visit stopped. Although she was still shaking for a long time at prayers. I told you only one case, how the devil can take advantage of the great sadness of people of little faith and take the form of a lost loved one and inhabit a person. You can say that this is a mentally ill woman, and you can say a lot. And I will tell you that no, this person did not have any deviations and raised 2 beautiful daughters. As a priest, I do not invent fantastic stories. Violence against young women and girls is not uncommon. They, of course, do not share their shame with anyone, but some gather strength and report it in confession. It must be said that, indeed, after sincere confession and communion of the holy mysteries of Christ, the antics of the incubus stop, unless, of course, the woman or girl has not felt the taste and does not want it. I say it as it is. Do they see them? Some just feel the force, like compressed air, and some feel the force coming down on them. Some ask them to show up, and the devil answers, "You can't stand it." These women are in a state of altered consciousness. At the beginning of the 90s, such cases could be counted on one's fingers. But now it is massive. Rarely will anyone tell you about it sincerely. But the experience of what I am talking about, even episodic, is really experienced by every third, if not every second, woman. Demons that come to married women are jealous because of their husbands. And it happens that the husband dies, then this woman remarries, and the second husband dies. They are called black widows. You all have probably heard of such. There was such a black widow at our parish 5 years ago. She was really possessed, because she was shaking during prayers from holy water. This is not a fairy tale, many of our parishioners know about it, and she did not hide it. This can be easily verified. And here is the story of one nun. Father, when I accepted the monk's vow and began to fast to eradicate worldly passions, the devil began to come to me at night and offer relationships, or incline to self-satisfaction, and I imposed even greater austerity on myself. And he became angry, appeared to me so slanderous, very despicable, and said, "How many years have you served me, and now you refuse? Our princes will punish me for you." When I began to pray for him, he broke the lamp with oil in front of the icon, and since then he has not appeared. Here is another case. I was acquainted with a famous writer in Chernivtsi, now deceased, his name was Rim. At one time, he was the editor of the Chernihiv newspaper, and in Chernivtsi he practiced occultism. In the late 1980s, the intelligentsia gathered at his home, and they summoned the souls of the dead, Tsar David, Taras Shevchenko, and asked them various questions. They sat around the table, touching one dish, which began to spin by itself, and the arrow showed the letters. I just started working in the church of St. Paraskiva. And this editor complained to me that demons came to him at night and raped him, and asked me what to do. Indeed, as my experience of communication with people traumatized by magic shows me, not a single sorcerer, not a single fortune teller, not a single so-called white witch and false healer who use elements of magic do not do without the incubus demons coming to them and entering in contact with them. And they cannot get rid of them, even if they want to. Here is another case. A young 18-years-old girl came to me. She said, "Father, I sold my soul to the devil so that boys would love me, so that I would be successful in life. I easily found how to do it on the internet, there are instructions there. I threw the cross into the toilet, wrote that I agreed. And I really started dating a handsome guy. He became attached to me, but later he became angry and began to beat me and say, 'I don't love you anymore, but I can't leave you.' I ran away from him, but the devil began to come to me at night. So now I ran to the church, advise me what to do. The Bible describes a period when humanity fell into great dishonor. And angels descended from heaven and entered into relations with earthly women. And women gave birth to giants and monsters. And the earth was filled with iniquities. And the Lord was forced to send disaster to the earth. There was a flood. All the hybrids died, all the giants. The apocryphal book of Enoch says that the souls of these monsters were not accepted until the time in hell. And they became unclean spirits. Here they are looking for bodies to enjoy. And now, in times of great lawlessness and moral decline, these evil spirits are getting more and more freedom. What should do those, to whom unclean spirits began to come due to their spiritual imprudence? If something similar happened, immediately read the prayer against defilement according to the prayer book. Always sprinkle the bed with holy water, and at night read the prayer, "God is risen," crossing the 4 walls around. And be sure to go to confession and tell the priest to pray especially for you. As a rule, when a believing person begins to take the holy sacraments of Christ in a sober, reverent and prudent manner, then demons no longer come to him. It is important that this happens at least once a month. But again, we take the sacrament not so that demons do not come to us, but because of love to Jesus Christ and the desire to come into the eternal kingdom of God.